Chapter 59. The Night Greyfard Burned. Part 3. The forest remained silent. Only the woman's breathing could be heard now. Broken, uneven, painful. Blood covered her clothes. Blood covered her hands. Every breath felt heavier than the last. Yet despite all of that, the thing she feared most was not the pain. It was the man sitting before her. Morveth, the ancient assassin, quietly sat across from her. Calm, patient, almost relaxed, as if they were two old acquaintances having a conversation beneath the moonlight. And somehow, that made everything far worse. For several moments, neither of them spoke. The woman lowered her head, unable to meet his eyes. Then finally, Morveth slowly reached forward. His hand gently grabbed one of hers. The woman visibly flinched. Her entire body tensed immediately. Fear flashed across her face. Then Morveth spoke. His voice remained calm, almost conversational. What I have learned after living for so long is that people like us rarely betray our masters. The woman remained silent. Morveth continued. Spies, assassins, shadows. We survive because we remain loyal. His eyes slowly moved toward her trembling face. So asking whether you'll betray Lysara would be a waste of time. The woman lowered her head further. Because he was right. Even now, part of her wanted to protect Lysara. Part of her wanted to remain silent. Part of her wanted to die without saying anything. Morveth noticed everything. Then suddenly, he smiled. Not warmly, not kindly, simply smiled. Which means we need another approach. Slowly, his fingers moved toward the smallest finger on her hand. The woman froze. For a brief moment, confusion appeared in her eyes. Then, crack, the scream that followed echoed throughout the entire forest. Birds scattered from distant trees instantly. The woman nearly collapsed from the pain. Her entire body shook uncontrollably. Tears flooded from her eyes. The finger had not been broken at the end, nor at the joint. Morveth had broken it directly through the middle, the most painful place possible. Meanwhile, Morveth simply watched, patiently, waiting for the pain to settle. Then finally, he grabbed another finger. The woman's eyes widened. No. Her voice trembled. Please, please no. Crack. Another scream, louder than before. More desperate, more broken. The woman cried uncontrollably now. But Morveth never stopped. One finger, then another, each one broken the exact same way. Slowly, methodically, without anger, without emotion, and somehow, that made it even more horrifying. The surrounding assassins remained completely silent. Even they refused to look directly at the scene. Eventually, every finger on one of the woman's hands hung uselessly. Broken, twisted, destroyed. The woman could barely think anymore. Pain consumed everything. Then finally, Morveth released her hand. For several moments, he simply watched her struggle to breathe. Then he spoke, calmly. You have to understand the situation now. The woman immediately nodded. Desperately, tears continued streaming down her face. Morveth leaned forward slightly. I'm going to ask questions. You're going to answer. If I hear even a single lie. His eyes slowly moved toward her other hand. We continue. The woman immediately understood. And for the first time that night, her loyalty lost against her survival instincts. She broke, completely. Then finally, she began speaking. Lady Lysara contacted me after one of the tournament battles. Her voice shook violently. She told me White Wolf had a task requiring absolute secrecy. Morveth remained silent, listening, watching, analyzing every word. The woman continued. Later that night, I met White Wolf inside the forest. He gave me a scroll. For the first time, Morveth's eyes narrowed slightly. A scroll? The woman nodded. Yes. When I opened it, it contained instructions. The forest grew silent once more. The woman swallowed nervously, then continued. I was ordered to collect several belongings belonging to Vex. His dagger, his poison bottle, anything that could identify him. One piece, then another. The puzzle slowly began forming. The woman continued. After that, I was instructed to attack Nightmare. Morveth remained expressionless. Attack. The woman shook her head immediately. Not truly. It was meant to create evidence. A crime scene. The dagger was supposed to be left behind. The poison bottle was supposed to return to Vex camp. Now everything started making sense. Every clue, every trail, every planted piece of evidence. The woman continued speaking. Faster now, desperate to survive. The next day, Vex was arrested. He was forced into the trial of death. He fought White Wolf and lost. For several moments, only the sound of the forest remained. Then she forced herself to continue. In the end, Vex tried to kill White Wolf. White Whale intervened, and Vex died. The woman's voice became barely audible. Afterward, Lady Lysara ordered absolute silence. No one was allowed to speak. Officially, Vex became a missing person. Silence followed. Long silence. The woman lowered her head completely, waiting, praying, hoping. For several moments, Morveth didn't move, didn't speak, didn't react. Then finally, he smiled. A small smile. A terrifying smile. Good. The woman looked upward immediately. Hope appeared inside her eyes. For the first time since their encounter, she believed she might survive. Morveth slowly nodded. You didn't lie. Relief flooded through her instantly. Her body almost collapsed. Finally, it was over. She survived. Morveth slowly stood, then turned away. The woman closed her eyes, trying to calm her breathing, trying to process everything that had happened, trying to convince herself she was safe. Then, Morveth spoke one final time, without even looking back. As promised, I will grant you a quick death. The woman's eyes snapped open. Pure terror filled her face. No. For the first time, her voice carried genuine panic. No, please. But Morveth continued walking. His footsteps never slowed, never stopped. Then he calmly raised one hand. The surrounding assassins immediately understood. The woman's screams began instantly, one after another, echoing through the silent forest. Agonizing, desperate, unending. And long after Morveth disappeared into the darkness, those screams continued following him through the night. And long after Morveth disappeared into the darkness, those screams continued following him through the night. The ancient assassin never looked back, never slowed his steps, never spoke another word, because the answers he came searching for had finally been revealed. But the truth carried consequences, and somewhere beyond the forest, beyond the blood, beyond the screams, events had already been set into motion. Events that would soon shake Greyfard itself. And this was only the beginning. To be continued. You have just listened to part 3 of The Broken Realm. But the chapter is not over yet. Part 4 is currently in production and will be released soon. So if you're enjoying the journey, make sure to subscribe and join us as we continue exploring the mysteries, betrayals, and legends of Moongrn. The Broken Realm is an original fantasy audiobook series from Echoes of Nova. And trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next.